So this year's Maker's Mark Cellar Aged is out, and it is older and higher proof than last year's. But does that mean it's better? Stay tuned after the break and we'll find out together. All right, so Maker's Mark Cellar Aged is kind of their top tier offering. Last year's was 11 and 12-year-old whiskey. This year's is 12 and 13-year-old whiskey. Last year's was 115.7 proof. This year's is 119.3. So we're getting higher proof with older age. It is, I believe, taken out, blended at 8 years, and then rebarreled and aged in their cave cellar. As always, if you want to know more about the actual bottles, check the descriptions. I'll have whatever information Maker's Mark is willing to give us in the description, and possibly a little bit of speculation. I'm known for that too. I have, thanks to my buddy Jeff, a sample of 2023s, and I have a bottle of 2024s, thanks to going there at 4 in the morning. So we're not going to get real frisky. We're just going to put them head to head and see which one wins. I'm not going to bother with blind because it's been a while since I've had the 23. So we're going to taste last year's, the 2023 first, and then we will taste the 2024 next to that. If you want to check out the review of last year's, here it is. We put it up against Maker's Mark BEP, which is last year's release of the wood finishing series, which they discontinued and then immediately recontinued with the heart release. Maker's Mark does some interesting things with their stuff. It's nice to see that Cellar Aged is continuing because it is, I believe, their top end offering. It went up a little bit in price, but not enough that I'm annoyed about it. Let's see what 2023's has to offer, and we'll do a little compare and contrast. So, see what it smells like. Immediately, it's got like a brown sugar type quality. It's got a little bit of cherry behind that. Definitely a good amount of oak, some chocolate, some marshmallow, some vanilla. The flavor feels really distinct. Like the things on the nose are like one thing at a time. They're what I like to call spiky flavors because they have like very distinct like ebbs and flows to them. Whereas like some whiskey has like a conglomeration of flavor and it's like tough to pull it out of there. This is like smacking you in the face like I am obviously cherry. I like that. The nose is just as good as I remember it being. Let's see what it tastes like. Oh yeah, chocolate covered cherries, like dark chocolate covered cherries. That's wonderful. It's just a faint bit nutty now, or at least that's what I'm picking up on today. A little bit nutty, a little bit of caramel. Going back through this, I really don't know how this didn't make it into the top 5 whiskeys of 2023. I really don't know. I want to keep a little bit of it to do a straight side-by-side comparison, but 2023 is fantastic. Gonna take a drink of water and then get into the 24s. All right, so right off the bat, you can physically see a color difference between the two. Some people will argue that, well, there's just more in the glass. 24s is noticeably darker. Is that because it's a year older? I don't know. Either way, we got to put it through its paces. Let's see what it smells like. This one is straight cherry. It's oak. It's a little bit of vanilla. The other one has kind of like a marshmallow thing and brown sugar on it. This is just like fruit and oak and maybe a little leather. It does have a little bit of sugar. Maybe like some cake icing, like some bruleed sugar kind of thing going on. It doesn't smell like it's noticeably more proof. If anything, 2023's smells hotter. This one smells really, really good. I think advantage on the nose I'm giving to the 24. Let's see what it tastes like. So cherry and then oak, but then it kind of falls off. Palate and the finish on this are really just cherry and oak. There's not as distinctive flavors. There's not as much to it. It kind of seems like the oak has taken over on this. This one's really cherry and oak dominated, and it's across all the palate in the finish. And it's a little bit hotter, although it's just kind of like tingling my mouth a little bit. But it is, I would say, noticeable. I don't think the 23 drinks its proof. I think the 24 does. Don't get me wrong. Both are fantastic whiskey. Let's go through number 1 again, and then we'll give you the thoughts. The second time around, this is much more cakey. It's like cake and icing and a little bit more like brown sugar on the palate. It's just it's a much different experience. There's distinct flavors. There's kind of more flavors to it. Like I'm almost getting like a coffee now. Very different. All right. Final sip of the 24. Both of them are fantastic. Both of them are what I would consider a top tier whiskey from Maker's Mark to be. I think both of them were worth the price too. I think last year's was 150 and I think this year's is 175. No problem paying that, especially even for next year's. I think both of them are very good. On the nose, I'm going to give the advantage actually to 2024's. I think it smells a little bit more top tier. It's got a little bit more going on. I think it definitely smells older, a little bit richer, whereas there's some elements to last year's that are almost borderline circus peanuts, which is not a thing that I tend to like. Almost a thing that I get off of generally cheap or young whiskey. However, on the palate, advantage is definitely the 2023s. I think 2023 is better on the palate. I think it's better on the finish too. I think the extra age, maybe the extra proof, allowed the 24 to become a little bit over oaked for my palate. It's a little bit simplistic. To people who like things like Peerless Double Oaked or, Woodford Double Oaked, Old Forester 1924, like you like oaky, a little bit simplistic whiskey, you're going to prefer 24. 23 to me is a little bit more complex, and therefore I think I like it slightly better, but in the end, I'm going to say it's maybe we're talking like a 9.25 to a 9.5 here. Like that is out of 10. I'm not going to put those scores to this. This doesn't go on our big board or anything. The 24 will go on our big board, but that is an out of 15. 5 for palate, 5 for nose, 5 for finish. So we'll look at that at some point. However, this I think advantage 23, but it is not a noticeable enough advantage. I think 24 tastes how it should for being higher proof and older, but I think I actually prefer the little bit younger and the little bit lower proof. I know, shocking for me. I slightly like 23 better. 23 wins it for me, but both are good, and I think both are worth picking up, especially if you have the opportunity to pick it up anywhere near MSRP. I would go there. I think it's fantastic. It's all but a no-brainer at anything under 300 for me. 300 is, I think, my line. Would love to hear your thoughts if you've had either of these, especially if you've had them side by side. I want to know what your opinion is. If you like any Maker's Mark products, if you don't like Maker's Mark products, if you think that me willing to pay 300 for either or both of these is insane, I'm here for it. I'm willing to have a conversation about any and or all of that. We have some upcoming live streams. We're going to do an Instagram live with our buddy Josh, the Kingpin of Smoke. So stay tuned for that. We've got the State of the Industry live stream with Nick from Saubles Markets coming up. We will have a date here soon for that, and we will get that to you. If you want to support us, the best way to do so is to pick up some merch. Link is in the description, or you can consider joining the channel. We have memberships available currently, and we have a Patreon coming. If you like this content, check out our other videos. Please like and comment on this video and subscribe if you haven't already. And we hope you'll join us in drinking like a gentleman. Cheers. Nailed it. Let's go. Okay. I'm going to do one more time just in case I that up. Even the cherry's crazy. Gotcha, bitch.